Morning, YouTube. There's a question on a forum, Festool Owners Group forum, about using a Mafell P1cc jigsaw with a guide rail. I'm going to show you how it's done with the Mafell guide rail first, and then I'll show you how you can use a Festool guide rail with this jigsaw. The Mafell, basically the jigsaw bases have machined profiles that allow them to go travel with the guide rail profile. So there's a raised profile here on the rail, and there's two machine slots in the base of the jigsaw that allow you to do guided, well, kind of captured guided cuts. You have, like I said, you've got one on each side, so that allows you to go either direction. Now there is, I can't remember if it's a 5mm or 6mm space off the backside of the Mafell guide rail, so naturally this jigsaw wants to kind of tip off of the guide rail as you're cutting that way. Mafell includes a spacer with the jigsaw that snaps onto the base, and you can snap this on either side. There's basically two machine positions up front that capture this hook, and then there's a hole on the base of the saw that allows this to snap in and lock into place. So now if I were cutting, the saw is completely supported on the workpiece. If I want to flip it around, there's a small area that's relieved on the back of this that lets you get your finger or thumb in there to take this on and off real easily. But you can just take and switch sides, and now again, cut being captured on this raised profile. Now Mafell has an angled base as well, angle cutting base. This works the same way. So in this instance, I just taken, there's again a machined recess on the bottom side of this plate, so that just goes into the raised profile on the rail, and now allows you to do, again, a captured guided cut. Now, here again the saw wants to tip off, so they have that same area for this spacer to fit into, and then that snaps onto the base of this as well. So now the saw is fully supported. Then you can come in and do whatever angle cut you like. Now one last option on this guide rail, I'm just going to go back to the 90-degree base, easier to show, is using their parallel fence. Parallel fence also has some machine slots. They have one on this side, one on the opposite side, and they use that to either space the saw off of the rail, so accommodating for that 5 or 6mm height difference, and then they do another side that allows you to use the saw partially on the rail. So I'll just show you that really quickly. I think red being up is for off the rail. Yeah, it is. So I could take and adjust this out as far as I like from the rail, tighten this down, and now I have, again, a guided, captured straight cut. If I flip it around so that the red is facing down, it now spaces the parallel edge guide, so that it'll set perfectly flat on top of the rail. So again, with part of the saw base being on the rail. Now here you could either use it as is, or if you felt like you needed some of that, or some anti-tip support, you just take and grab that spacer and snap it on the base of the saw. You can find it, there we go. And now it's fully supported too. Now with the Festool rail, you don't have a way of having basically, I guess what I'm referring to as a captured guide, in that you have something straddling the raised profile, but you do have a couple of options for using this as a straight edge. On the 90-degree base, you have machined edges on the base. These are precision machined to basically run parallel with the saw blade. So you can take and use a square or the backside of a Festool rail as a straight edge and have a nice clean guided cut. You can also use the parallel guide. You could use this if you wanted to go off of the other side of the rail. And this works better than I thought it might. I think this is the way we want it. So this allows you to get a pretty good grip on one side, and I guess I'm able to get a fairly captured cut doing it this way, just by straddling my fingers over both sides of this raised profile. And of course you tighten this down and then make a guided cut that way. So the parallel guide it also works with their angle base. I just have basically this thumb screw that tightens down to this parallel guide. I have that off in the Mafell box right now, but this would just slide in the same way. Of course, this has got a flat aluminum profile on one side, so you could use this the same way as I mentioned. Basically on the back side of the rail as a straight edge, or if you have a square, along the side of the square. Now, one comment I will make about doing straight cuts with this jigsaw, particularly when you're using the Mafell W1 blade. Sorry, I should have had this out. The W1 blade is basically two blades. I'm not sure how well this will show up in the video, but it's two blades welded together with a really aggressive relief ground on the back side of the blade. So you can see, or maybe you can't see, but it's very thin on the back side, and you have basically the thickness of two thinner jigsaw blades on the front. That relief aids in both tight radius cuts, and it also helps with doing straight guided cuts. A lot of times on just a standard jigsaw blade, you can get material buildup that'll cause the blade to just shift and flex to one side or the other. So you might start off on a guided cut doing a really square cut, but then as you progress through the cut, the blade just starts to wander and push out. With this blade, because of that added relief on the back side and of course the extra stiffness of the blade, you don't get any deflection. So you can do really long guided cuts, and the result is a perfectly square cut. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.